Hi, I'm happy that you're back again, and in this video I want to tell you something about the different chip card categories that are available. Currently there are over 140 chip cards, and the mode of action of them I present you today. In advance, perhaps also interesting, except for the crystal program, all cards can be used with the hand electrodes or wrist cuffs. If you have local complaints, you can also put the electrodes there and therefore intensify, but this is not a must. But now to the first category. These are the chip cards according to naturopath Baklayan, and they contain, among other things, the harmonical frequencies, but also frequencies from Rife and Clark. On these cards, the practical proven programs are arranged according to certain indications and form a consistent concept. For example, for the support of ears, nose, throat complaints, you will find the classical streptococcus and staphylococcus frequencies, which are mostly responsible for these bacterial complaints in this area. Or the Candida chip card has, for example, 19 different frequencies which have been systematically tested in practice and thus cover the complete Candida spectrum. With many of these cards, the goal is to attenuate pathogens, and it's good to know that you can also increase the intensity. That means increasing the number of volts during the application with the plus button, until you feel a slight tingling, and then please go back with the minus button, so you stay below this tingling limit and can intensify the program. Very important, nothing should hurt or feel unpleasant during the application. Otherwise, you have set it too high. I have also had the experience that I felt the pinch at the preset intensity of a program where I had just applied my electrodes, so I just decreased the intensity a bit. The next generation of chip cards from naturopath Baklayan were the TCM cards. In one or the other video, I had already mentioned that in 2010, Mr. Baklayan created a completely new approach in frequency therapy with the harmonical frequency procedure. Because in this system, he calculated mathematically the exact frequency range of each TCM meridian, and then within each meridian, the frequency of all acupuncture points. This knowledge is used to recharge the acupuncture points, which can also be seen as mini batteries. According to traditional Chinese medicine, each meridian is assigned to certain physical functions, organs, or elements, and due to a depletion of the meridian or the acupuncture points on the corresponding meridian, discomfort can occur because the life energy doesn't flow there. This can be compared to an acupuncture treatment, but without needles. I would like to briefly mention some of these TCM chip cards, which would be, for example, the mood card for depressive tendencies, the SD card for support in the case of hypothyroidism, or the AIM card if you tend to autoimmune reactions. There is also a video about the TCM chip cards. I'll link it to you here above. So, I want to correct a statement from there, because this generation of chip cards doesn't need earthing, but it's also not wrong to earth yourself during or after the application. What is not true, however, is that all of these chip cards work with microcurrents, which means with an intensity well below 1 volt. There are also exceptions where the voltage is around 5. The newest generation of chip cards, and the third category in the bunch, serves to harmonize various body functions. For example, the intestinal function in case of food intolerances, to harmonize the liver function in case of cellulite, or in case of stomach over-acidification. The respective frequency ranges on these cards are basically for harmonization and regulation of the meridian system on different levels and layers. It is not so important to name exactly all your complaints, but it is sufficient to have a tendency direction what problem there is. As far as I know, there are all frequencies from acupuncture, which means that points that are related to this complaint are either stimulated or dampened. If we take the cellulite card, then there are 10 different frequency ranges and individual frequencies on it, and these activate all areas that are necessary for a reduction of cellulite. This would be, for example, the lymphatic transport, connective tissue, skin and subcutaneous tissue, deacidification of the stomach, liver stimulation, and so on. Because cellulite occurs due to over-acidification of the organism and exhaustion of physiological metabolism. When the body then moves these acids aside to maintain the acid-base balance, we can then see this externally in the form of cellulite. Also with these chip cards, no earthing is necessary, but if you want, you can still use the earthing. Then there are also chip cards that have a reference to the element theory of TCM. In TCM, the 5 elements represent a superordinate principle in the form of functional circles and are always composed of 2 meridians. For example, the fire element regulates the heart and small intestine meridian, or the water element regulates the bladder and kidney meridian. If you want to use these cards, you can definitely be guided by the main symptom which usually fits. And if the underlying symptoms also partly fit, then you are completely right with the respective card. I mentioned earlier that acupuncture points can be stimulated or dampened depending on the complaints, and this also applies to the elements. Sometimes it needs to be supported or needs dampening. However, what makes no sense at all is to dampen and support the same element simultaneously. That would simply contradict each other. If we now take the element fire again, then one can assume an overexcitation with nervous restlessness, and this should be dampened, whereas the fire element needs rather a support with states of anxiety. I hope I was able to present this at least halfway understandable, because the teachings of TCM is such a huge field which cannot be dealt with so quickly, but here now just a brief quick overview for general understanding. With the element chip cards, no too high intensity is used. I have seen it with all cards for the dampening. Microcurrents under 1 volt are used. There you could omit the earthing again. With the supporting elements cards, however, earthing would be quite good. What I would also like to mention, there are about 60 chip cards, according to Dr. Hulda Clark, for various indications such as arthritis, bronchitis, diabetes, menopausal complaints, and so on. For you, it's of course also important where you can find all this information. On the one hand, on the DiamondShieldZapper.com website among Zapper chip cards, then in the free ebook Gentle Therapy with Biofrequency, which I'll link you in the info box, and also in the free Healing Frequency online library. There you can also find the frequencies according to Rife and Clark, as well as making your own chip cards according to naturopath Baklayan. I link you the video of the Healing Frequency library here above, because it is worthwhile to have a look at it in any case. And if you have longer lasting or serious complaints, then please don't hesitate to have the whole thing clarified by a doctor. Of course, the Zapper cannot replace a diagnosis, but you can always use it as a support. So, the video was now quite packed with information. Feel free to subscribe to the channel and activate the bell, then you will be notified every time a new video is released. You will also find in the info box 2 affiliate links. If you order something through them, you get 5% discount. Now, I wish you a lot of success with the application of the Diamond Shield. Take care and see you next time.